Heard the f***ing news. Welcome back, bro. You still crazy? You better believe it, motherfucker. Look at this.
Now, Power Origins is officially in production. They dropped the first exclusive images from set, which we did see before. There were a couple of BTS shots of young Ghost and Kanan that we did see before. We went through an in-depth breakdown with some thoughts, theories, and a couple of storylines that I did think we needed to see play out in Power Origins, which from a couple of these character descriptions, I do think they've given us a few clues in terms of what we may see, what we may not see. So we'll definitely go through that in a bit more detail later on, because they have also dropped some big casting news at the same time. Deadline dropped a big article with a lot of characters and a lot of news. I did say November and December would be big months for Power with potential news around Power Origins, especially because they did start filming last month. Sometimes for months on end, we go through crazy Power droughts where there's no news, no episodes, no Power stuff, apart from my usual Sunday Power breakdowns. But when it rains, it pours. So in this breakdown, we're going to be running through some of those images. We've got a young Kanan, who really isn't that young anymore. But we've got a young Kanan, Ghost and Tommy. They've also cast a young Kate Egan. There's also going to be a familiar face from Raising Kanan returning in Power Origins as well. That's going to be Tremon. But we'll go through all those characters, their character descriptions, and also some other news from the Deadline article in this breakdown as well. Because I do think some of their character descriptions do give us a clue around the topic of the timeline. So that's the agenda for today's breakdown. The images, the characters, and then some general thoughts around the timeline for all things Power Origins Season 1. Now, in terms of the images that they posted on social media, we've got a young Kanan, Tommy, and Ghost. With Kanan not looking that young anymore, he looks more mature in some of these pictures. He does look as if he resembles a lot more of the older Kanan here that we saw from Power. I know from Instagram stories that have been posted on social media, he has been hitting the gym. He's been putting a lot of work in during the Power off season. He looks bigger, meaner. He does resemble more of the Kanan that we remember from Power. And with professional makeup artists that they have on set, they can definitely change a lot of things by aging characters up, changing their hairstyle, making him resemble more of the older Kanan. And one of the things that many weren't happy about was Spencer Moore being taller than Mackay Curtis, but I gave the example of how Tariq was almost the exact same height as Ghost towards the end of Power. It didn't seem it, but through camera angles and whatever else, they can easily change that. But there isn't that much of a height difference, to be honest anyway, and there was definitely no need to recast Mackay Curtis either. I do think he's grown a lot in the role of Kanan throughout the 4 seasons of Raising Kanan, and for continuity purposes, you do want to keep the same actors. You want to bridge the 2 shows in the right way, and all this nonsense on social media around the height and stuff, honestly, I don't think it matters. What matters is the chemistry, just like the chemistry that we see on Raising Kanan, their acting credentials, and them being able to play the best version of these characters with the story that Sasha Penn decides to write. That's all I think that matters. And with the phenomenal work that they've done with Raising Kanan, honestly, I think we're in great hands. But we've got all 3 of them standing together. They're wearing the jackets to hide what they're wearing underneath. Tommy's got the cap on, but we've also got an image of Tommy here as well. We've also got a young Ghost, a few more behind the scene images. Honestly, this gets you really excited and ready for Power Origins. This spin-off is going to be absolutely insane, because it's the one that we've been waiting for so many years. Now, the Deadline article does also confirm Power Origins. Well, they've written Power Legacy here, which I do think is just a typo, but Power Origins is already shooting in New York and it will have 18 episodes. It's like 2 seasons instead of the way we did it last time, so that's going to be cool, it's going to be exciting. And that was 50 Cent speaking about Power Origins. He was also asked about Legacy and an update on a present-day timeline spin-off, and he kind of joked and said, "I'm waiting on their money," which I think if you know 50 Cent, he may have said it as a joke, but he probably means it at the same time. We all know 50 Cent is a businessman at the end of the day, and a damn good one at that. So definitely a bit of tongue-in-cheek there from 50 Cent. He was joking, but probably wasn't at the same time. Now, the article did also state Starz teases that this new series will be a light affair, describing it as a fun, rambunctious exploration of a time period in the Power franchise. Power Origins will highlight the unbridled audacity of young men on the rise, determined to be legends in the game. With that being said, those are the images, that's the news out the way, so let's dig into the new cast that we're going to see in Power Origins Season 1 and their character descriptions. Now, interestingly, there is a character who will be crossing over from Raising Kanan, which I don't think many of us would have thought would, and in fact, he probably was on many of our death predictions just in Season 4, Tremon. We know he snaked Rock and the Thomases, he got what was coming to him in Season 4, but Rock and Marvin did let him live. Now, he hasn't got a character description as such, but we do know him from Raising Kanan, and sometimes characters like these are needed just to bridge the 2 shows together. He may have connections, he may even have a bit of a role to play in season 5 of Raising Kanan. But he may have connections, he may have created an alliance with Kanan, maybe to a connect, who knows. Like I mentioned, I do think it is good to have characters that just bridge the two shows together, and I'm sure they'll make it make sense why we're seeing Traymon crossing over, but that's number one, the return of Traymon. Now, next up, we've got a young Kate Egan. Tommy's mother, Kate Egan, is a melodramatic, attention seeking, and manipulative, especially if she's using, and also desperate to get her hands on her next fix. Despite this, Tommy is fiercely devoted to her, taking care of her, and trying to keep her clean. Now, over the years, we've spoken a lot about Tommy and Kate's relationship. I'm sure we're probably going to touch on it at some point in Full Season 3. At this moment in time, she's said to be in New York, but I'm sure we will see her at some point soon. But we've also spoken about her in previous Power Origins breakdowns as well. For those who haven't seen my previous Origins breakdown, I did go through their relationship in a lot more detail, and it's even more so relevant after reading this particular character description. Kate's going to be really important to the storyline, and she's going to be really important to Tommy, despite us knowing what their relationship is kind of like. It's a very on and off relationship. He's still said to be very devoted to Kate, and we saw it in the moment when he confronted Tariq at the end of Season 3 of Ghost, where he was pissed at Tariq for bringing a gun to his mother's house. So definitely excited to see a young Kate Egan who will be played by Jennifer Ferrin. Definitely excited to see more of the relationship between Tommy and Kate and them exploring more angles that will, just make this relationship that we saw in Power make sense. Now, next up, we also have Jill Wexler. She's said to be smart, ambitious, and sharp-tongued. Jill is a nurse at a local Queen's hospital with big dreams to someday go to medical school. She's also a recovering addict who's experienced a lot of heartbreak in her young life. She falls hard for Tommy, but is also quick to call him out on his bullshit and frequent idiocy. So Tommy's going to be dating a nurse in Power Origins, which is quite interesting because we know he's now dating a nurse in Chicago in Power Book 4 Force, Maria Garcia. She's also someone who's a recovering addict, and she's now going to be with someone who's selling drugs. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? I think we all know where they're going with that one, or where they could potentially go with it based on history. But next up, we have Lenny Siddell. He's a charismatic, confident finance bro turned into a fitness entrepreneur who owns a handful of successful NYC gyms. With ambitions to create a fitness empire, Lenny's business model relies heavily on providing steroids to his elite gym clientele, and he's always looking for new partners. Now, no doubt we're going to see Kanan, Ghost, and Tommy in the gym together. You look at the kind of characters they grew up to be in Power. They were strong, fierce, and neither of them could actually be messed with. And they definitely would have to be strong in that part of the world that they were in. They definitely can't be soft. But Lenny's apparently going to be looking for new partners, and maybe that's actually one way they could potentially be cleaning their money early on, buy into these gyms. Just an early thought. Now, next up we have Ome Maru. I've probably butchered the name already, so apologies if I have. But he's said to be a superstar Titan with the NY Jets, and also a generous friend to those in his inner circle. Ome invites his pals into an extravagant world of parties, hot women, and hotter cars, all with no strings attached, or so it seems. So we've got a bit of a celebrity on our hands in Power Origins, and when I read the no strings attached bit, I don't think they had to tell us so it seems. We definitely know there's going to be something dodgy about this particular character. Let's see how he also gets entangled into the world of Ghost, Tommy, and Kanan are in. I definitely think that's going to happen as well. So let's see what his involvement is when it comes to the trio. Now, I have saved this one for last because this is the one which will transition us over to speaking a bit about the timeline and also us asking the question, where's Breeze? So last up, we have Jay Boogs. He's said to be sharp, street smart, and scrappy. Jay Boogs is a reliable foot soldier with a good eye for the game, and he is said to be one of Ghost and Tommy's most trusted corner boys. And this is where I do want to transition over to the timeline. His character description does tell us that he's a corner boy for Tommy and Ghost, and that means Tommy and Ghost are kind of already in the game, like, seriously in the game where they've already got their own corner boys. And that tells me we're definitely in for a decent sized time jump. Earlier on in the breakdown, we went through how mature Makai Curtis looks, how it looks like they've aged him up to resemble the older Kanan a lot more. Young Ghost and Tommy are the young Ghost and Tommy, but they ain't exactly young either. These are guys who are going to start off in the game in Season 1. They're going to be getting straight into the action in Power Origins Season 1. So maybe we don't actually see these storylines where Angela left Ghost to go to Choate. Maybe we don't see a heartbroken Ghost. Maybe we don't even see Curtis St. Patrick and find out exactly the ins and outs of what happened with his death. Because we know from Power, Ghost was pulled into more of the streets after his death. Curtis St. Patrick was the one who was trying to pull him in the other direction. So it does look like we may not even see Curtis St. Patrick. However, Power Origins Season 1 is 18 episodes. So even though they haven't been casted, even though it looks like we are going to be getting a major time jump, it doesn't mean that we won't see them at all. 18 episodes is a very long time to flush this story out for Season 1. In my opinion, I do think they're going to be making use of a lot of flashbacks when it comes to fleshing out the story of Ghost and Tommy. So maybe we do see those moments where Ghost beats up those guys who were said to be picking on Tommy, but maybe we see it in a flashback. Maybe we see what happened to Curtis St. Patrick in a flashback. Maybe we see what happens to Breeze in a flashback. And that brings me to the all important question, where's Breeze? If they're starting the story of Power Origins with a more older Ghost, Tommy and Kanan, has Breeze actually been killed off by the time we actually reach season 1 of Origins? Are we even going to see that much interaction between Breeze, Ghost, and Tommy? Maybe we don't. Maybe it's a story that they tell through conversations. Maybe it's a story that they tell in flashbacks. We may even get an entire episode that's a complete flashback. That would definitely be a Powers first. But like I said before, 18 episodes to flush this story out. They've definitely got plenty of time. But I've definitely got a big question mark around Breeze. Let's see what they actually do with his character first in Raising Kanan Season 5. But those are just some early thoughts and also the official information around the casting news for Power Origins Season 1. I'm hyped. I'm excited to see Origins. I can't wait, and I know you guys can't wait as well. It's going to be a big show, and hopefully we do see the first 9 episodes at the back end of 2026, but who knows. But the floor is now yours. I know you guys will have a lot to say in the comment section, so get your thoughts down below in the comment section. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.